tech-savvy consumers are lining up today to be the first to purchase Sony's brand new stupid piece of shit that doesn't do the goddamn thing it's fucking supposed to. Onion News Network Tech Trends reporter Jeff Tate has more.
Thanks, Brandon. It's being called the biggest fucking waste of your hard-earned money to come along in years.
Hey, this is dee4doa's, and this is going to be a rant for the PlayStation 3 about the backwards compatibility. I was meaning to do this rant for quite some time actually, especially back in 2009, but I never got round to it, to be honest, and I always forgot to do it, so... But anyway, like, when the PS3 launched back in 2007 here in the UK, it had backwards compatibility in the system, which was the equivalent. It wasn't the original 60GB in the US, which had the proper PS2 emotion engine and GPU and all that. It was half the GPU and half software emulation. But then after that, they took it out, which was really stupid. And like, I'm wondering, why did Sony make such a stupid move? Why did they take out backwards compatibility? It's like, they announced it. I wouldn't mind if they said at the start, when they first announced PlayStation 3, they said, oh, sorry, it doesn't support PlayStation 2. Well, I could understand that. But then, you release a system, it has an ability to play these games, and then you make another version of the console, discontinue the old one, then make a new one that has less features, then just lower the price a little bit and explain how that like makes up for it, and then just take away the backwards compatibility. That's just bullshit, to be honest, because like, they keep removing features from the PS3. First it was backwards compatibility, now it's Linux. What's next? The compatibility with DVDs and stuff. It's just stupid. And why Sony fanboys are like saying, oh, you don't buy a PS3 only to play PS2 games and 1 games. You just buy a PS3 games just to play PS3 games. Can you stop moaning now and all that? And I'm just like, oh my god, it's so stupid. All these fanboys saying, why would you want that ability? PS2 is old, get over it, and all those stupid troll comments. Seriously, if they made two systems which were exactly the same price, one being with backwards compatibility and one without backwards compatibility, which would you choose? I think I'd choose the one with backwards compatibility. Basically, you would want that. I want that ability to be in my PS3, and then they take it away? No, that's just wrong, because I agree, back in the day when they first announced it, it was something like $599, and then they lowered it down to $299 because of the price. People didn't want to pay $599, and I don't blame them, to be honest, because $599 for a games console, you know, that's a lot of money. Just to pay like $599 just to play a console. And when it first came out, it didn't hardly have any games anyway. People just went with 360. Like in Europe, like when it first came out, people was like, oh, the PS3 is shit, blah blah blah. You know, everyone just gets the 360. But now, it's like, oh, the 360, blah blah blah, it's shit, and like they've gone back to PS3. But now it's like, I'm quite in the middle of saying, I'm not sure where I am at the moment, because I think I've got a 360, but I got banned from Xbox Live, so I'm thinking, you know. But on PS3, it's like, they take away these abilities. I still have my PS2 to this day. It's 10-year-old, and it still works. Whereas the 60GB model, I originally had that model, the 60GB, the one with backwards compatibility. Then they take that ability away, because the people in the game shop said that if you want that ability, you basically best off buying a PS2 separately, which I already had, and the PS3 Slim, and I thought, I might as well. So I actually sold my original 60 and got the PS3 Slim, the 250GB, and I just hooked up my PS2 as well just to play them. But to be honest, I don't see the point, because like, I want an all-in-one gaming console, because I don't want to keep having to change the system around each time, because every time I only have like one plug socket, and I have to keep changing it every single time I want to play a game. It's like, right, I want to play Dark Cloud, I want to play Dark Chronicle, I want to play Tekken Tag Tournament, I want to play Tekken 6, I want to play Soul Calibur, blah 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 blah. I want to play like Grand Theft Auto. So like change it out, and it's like, it's like the same thing over and over again. Why can't they just, like, Sony, like, it's so stupid. Why can't they get the head out of their ass and like just say, right, we're gonna make a backwards compatible model for the people who want backwards compatibility. Like, they don't have to, the people who don't want it don't have to buy it, but the people who do want it, you know, they have an option now, don't they? Instead of just like saying, instead of just like backstabbing all the people who like the ability from the start and just saying, oh, right, you only buy a PlayStation 3 to play PlayStation 3 games. Well, why are people buying old PlayStation 3s from eBay, the 60GB ones, for double the amount of the price? I don't know what they're planning, and now they're that greedy. They're actually re-releasing all PS2 games on HD with trophies. This is the sad thing, because I would actually buy them, but I don't want to buy these games again. I already have all those games that I already bought. I don't want to have to go out again, rebuy all the games just to play it on the console, on the PS3. So it's just, and then they come out with stupid things to say. PlayStation 3 cannot emulate PlayStation 2 games just via software, even though, well, how does PC do it? PC has, like, you know, if you have the best PS2 emulator on PC is PCSX2, and that can run nearly every single game from like every single region on PC, and it looks great, and you can play it in HD and everything. So, and Sony's saying that their console cannot play their own games on their own system, their own branded console, when my PC specs are like actually not that high, because I've got a 2.3 gigahertz of processor, and I can play Final Fantasy X just fine, and I can play Dark Cloud just fine, and Dark Chronicle just fine, in 60 frames per second. And you're thinking to yourself, how does like Sony like say, oh, we can't support this on PS3 because, you know, because it's not powerful enough? Well, why did you state that PlayStation 3 is a powerhouse? You stated, oh, the PlayStation 3 is a powerhouse, you know, and then you say, oh, well, it can't play our older games, and you're just like, what the fuck? And you're just like, okay then. And then you buy out, and then the cycle continues. You go out, you buy a PS2 again, you play the games, and then you just like, you just feel that just a bit unsatisfied, like what you've just bought. You know, I don't see what their motive is, like. And now there was some stupid rumor about a new console coming out, a backwards compatible model, and then which was 320GB, and guess what? It's only coming out for Japan. But then after that, they actually realised that it was a translation error, and a lot of people were pissed off by that, and they said, "What's the point?" It's like, Sony's not listening to us. And if you look on the share blog, the official PlayStation share blog, which Sony actually set up for people to post their ideas online to improve the PlayStation experience, number one was cross-game chat, which they still haven't done either, but that could be another rant. But then the second one is the ability to play PlayStation 2 games via software on all PlayStation 3s, because people who have the original 60GB model, who can play the PS2 games, just want everyone else to shut up about it, because they're just happy, and everyone just gets screwed over by Sony, because their model's like still working, and the models that like everyone else had to trade in for a Slim, and then they feel unsatisfied afterwards. It's just and now they're even greedier by like making PSP. They're remaking PSP HD remakes on PS3 as well. I'm like, how greedy can Sony actually be? Like, first they remake PlayStation 2 games on PS3, charge you like £40 for it, which is like $60, and then just make it a really shit port of the game, like God of War. Like in the CG cutscenes, they'd made no effort whatsoever improve the the CG cutscenes. They just basically just improved the graphics a little bit, changed a bit of the lighting, just added a few trophies, and that's it, basically. And people, well, like myself, are gullible to go out and buy the games again because, yeah, you know, it looks nice, it has trophies and stuff like that, and then... But it's like, you already have all these games, and like, why are you rebuying them all? And it's just like, ugh, I can't be bothered with this anymore, and you just go out and buy it anyway. And then, it's like, in 2009, there was a rumour about an add-on for the PlayStation 3. The Backwards Compatibility add-on, which has the Emotion Engine inside of it, which you could just plug into the USB port and basically play your PS3 games off that. That rumour came out in 2009, and actually it's not really a rumour because there was actually plans to make it. But what's holding Sony back? It's like we all know what they're doing. They're milking PS2 to its limits. They're milking it to see what it's got, basically. Because they're still selling PS2s in third world countries and all that. They can sell them in countries like, I don't know, India, possibly Africa, South America. They can sell all PS2s for a cheap price of £99, basically £100 in countries like that. And they're basically still, after 11 years, still managing to sell all these games. And I'm like, well, how come you screwed over every single person who's owned a PlayStation since PlayStation 1? Ugh. It's just pathetic, really, to be honest. I don't know, it's just... I think Sony have greedy. It's like... And the ability to play all your old PS1 games on it as well. And the library of PS2 games overshadows the whole PlayStation 3, basically. The whole PlayStation 3 library. There's over like 2,000 games for like PlayStation 2, where there's just about 1,000 and something for PlayStation 3. I think this is going to be the end of my rank.
Giant enemy crab. Giant enemy crab. Attack its weak point for massive damage. Giant crab. Enemy crab. Giant crab. Enemy crab. Attack its weak point for massive damage. Giant crab. Enemy crab. Giant enemy crab actually took place in ancient Japan. Giant enemy crab. Massive, massive, massive 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 crab. Attack its weak point for massive damage. Massive, massive, massive crab. Massive, massive, massive crab. Massive, massive, massive crab. Giant enemy crab actually took place in ancient Japan.
Sony says they plan to release an upgraded 800 gigabyte version of this piece of shit by the end of the year. Whoops.